Hello, I'm Harold Flatter, and I had weight loss surgery. I had the gastric sleeve performed September 13th, which was 4 months and 12 days ago. I have recently, in the last 2 or 3 days, received a handful of emails asking why I hadn't posted a video, and I just hadn't realized that I hadn't done it. So it was time for me to get another one up, and so here it is. A little history about me. As you know, I work for the fire department here where I live, and I had really just gotten too fat to do my job as well as it needs to be done. And so I looked at several options. I mean, I've been a big guy all of my life, but just as I got older and time went on, I just kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And I've tried diets, I've tried weight loss pills. Here where I live, we have a doctor. He runs a weight loss clinic that's all done with medication. I had been a patient there with no measurable results, and so I just felt like this was my final option. In September of 2009, I tried to have lap band. I did have lap band, but it eroded a hole in my stomach and had to be removed 10 days after I got it. Which resulted in a month-long hospital stay to fight infection and things like that. So I had to spend a year healing, and then of course I was no longer a candidate for lap band, and so I had the gastric sleeve because I didn't feel like the gastric bypass was the right surgery for me. So all of those things that I just said were mentioned in my earlier videos. I just kind of wanted to recap a little bit. That's a little history on me. The problems I've had since my surgery are pretty few. I have had zero complications from the actual surgery. I didn't even have the complications that I was told everyone has. I came through the surgery with no problem. I had no infections. I had no leaking. I had nothing. They told me I'd stay in the hospital 3 days, and I'm pretty sure I left on the second day. So again, that was great. On day-to-day issues that I have that a lot of people with this surgery have is if I eat too quickly or if I take too large of bites, I'll salivate a lot, and that causes me to have a foamy or slimy kind of reflux it's gonna come up. So you're gonna have to get somewhere and let it out, and it doesn't happen very often, but when it's not a violent reaction. You have time to get somewhere, but you can feel it, and it's very uncomfortable, and it's going to happen. Something that you'll have to get used to is probably just because, one, you're eating a tremendous amount less food than you're used to, and because your body is, if you're eating healthy stuff, using everything that you take in, your bowel movements are going to be a lot fewer and farther between, and you don't want to confuse that with being constipated, because you're not actually constipated. There's just nothing to pass. So prior to my surgery, they had warned me that I may have aversions to certain foods and drinks that I had liked previously, and I haven't found a lot of things that have changed, but one that's been a great thing for me is, of course, after the surgery, you're not supposed to drink things with carbonation, but myself and probably everyone who has a surgery, kind of testing the waters, has tasted things to see if they could drink it or whatever. And I used to be addicted to Dr. Pepper sodas, and I can't drink sodas. They don't taste right to me. It's not the carbonation. They just taste awful. I've tried several different kinds: Diet Dr. Pepper, regular Dr. Pepper, Coke, and they don't taste right. As a matter of fact, I told my wife that after tasting the way a soda tastes now, I don't know why anybody would drink sodas if they taste that way to everybody. So at any rate, that's one of the things. But I have never been a sweets person. I have an unhealthy relationship with fatty foods. Anything fried, Mexican food, anything that's high in carbs. That has always been my problem. It was never sweets. But since my surgery, I have to be real cautious because I like sweets a lot more than I used to. So that's one kind of. I'm still not super big on sweets, but it's more so than it used to be. Um, if you've been to your preoperative classes, or at least to a training seminar about the surgery you're going to get, you know they're going to tell you not to drink liquids of any kind, carbonated or otherwise, with your meal. I've watched a lot of videos online where people say, oh yeah, they still do it and it's no problem. I can't do it. If I drink anything while I'm eating, my food's coming up. If I drink, say 20 to 30 minutes before I eat, I'm not going to be able to eat enough to stay full. And if I eat within, say, 20 to 30 minutes after I eat, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. So for about an hour before I eat and at least an hour after I eat, I really have to avoid drinking anything. I guess one thing y'all really like to know about is my weight loss. As I mentioned, I'm 4 months and 12 days out, and I started out at 312 pounds. The day of surgery, to be honest with you, I was weighed, and I don't remember what that weight was, and for some reason I didn't write it down anywhere. But my preoperative weight when I started my first visit was 312 pounds, and so to date I've lost 72 pounds, and that brings me in at 240 pounds. And 240 pounds is what I weighed when I graduated high school, and that was like 15 years ago, 16 years ago, something like that. I asked my wife just before I made this video if she had noticed any personality changes or if I acted any differently towards people or towards her or my son or anything like that. And she said, well, you haven't had any personality changes yet. So I guess she is expecting some, but I don't know what they will be. And I would guess if, as differently as I look at this amount of weight loss, I don't know why my personality would change when I lose even more weight. But we both agree, she and I both agree, that I'm dressing differently, and it was important for me to tell her and important for me to tell you guys, and I think you'll notice this too as you lose weight. The way I'm dressing isn't my personality changing, it's the way I've always wanted to dress, but I'm really self-conscious about clothes that don't look right, and I don't want to say I make fun, but I will call somebody out if they're wearing clothes that are inappropriate for their age or their size, and so because I do that, I'm very cognizant of it myself. Yes, I'm dressing differently, but it's because I can fit into different clothes that look differently on me than they would have 4 months ago. My daily routine, of course, I work every third day at the fire department, and on my 2 days off, I don't have a side job or anything like that. So I usually don't have breakfast on my 2 days off. I'm really not a big breakfast person, and I wasn't even before my surgery. But at the fire station, we'll usually have a couple eggs, maybe some toast, and then of course we drink coffee by the gallon at the fire station. But at home, we have a Keurig, so I'll usually have 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and that's usually it. And I'll drink a little bit of water through the day, and it's not particularly healthy, but I'll drink at least a glass of Hawaiian fruit punch throughout the day. It gives me something sweet and kind of picks me up a little bit, and I enjoy it. So I do that on a daily basis. As far as eating at home, my wife and I, we try to cook at home as much as possible, and we eat a lot of chicken and lean beef, and then just side vegetables and side dishes and things like that. And we use low fat, as many things low fat as possible, or fat free and what have you, and just really use portion control. Now at the fire station, I eat whatever the crew is cooking that day, and sometimes that's not healthy. Actually, most of the time it's not healthy, and so I just have to be careful and use portion control. This video may run out, and if it does, I'll make a part 2 and finish up, because I got a few more things I want to talk about, but I'm going to go as long as it'll let me record. As I was saying before I gave you that little note, at the fire station we don't always prepare very healthy food. So when I'm there, and if you find yourself in that situation, you just have to use portion control, and that's really all you can do. If you find yourself in a situation where you have to eat out at a restaurant, most places, if you really study their menu, have pretty healthy choices if you can find things you like. I'm kind of a picky eater in restaurants, because if I'm going to pay for something, I want to know that I'm going to like it. So I tend to not be adventurous. So a lot of times, if we're eating at a restaurant that I know what they have, I'll go ahead and order something I know I like, and then just eat very little of it, and take the rest with me or whatever. Let's see here. I'm sure there's some things I'm missing. Over the holidays that just passed, everywhere we went there was food, and there was holiday parties, and of course there was Thanksgiving, and I ate whatever I came across, and my weight loss slowed down, but I still continued to lose weight, and I'm not suggesting that you do that, because I know the way I did it was wrong, but there's a lot of temptations out there through the holidays and whatnot, but I still, even though I ate more than I normally eat day to day, I tried to make as good a choices as possible, and pass up the sweets, and pass up the cakes and the candies, and all the stuff that come along with the holidays. If we went somewhere that had a sandwich tray, I'd eat a couple of, maybe, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I eat more frequently than I would normally eat, but I tried to make as healthy a choices as possible. So I would just hope that you're able to do that too. One good thing, if any of us could master portion control, we wouldn't be in a position to need this surgery to begin with. And I think most people can't master portion control because you eat a small portion and you're still hungry. Well, with this surgery, you eat a small portion and you're stuffed. And so that makes portion control easier to master. I went for my 3-month follow-up December 15th, and on the 15th they drew lab work from me, which was the first time I'd had labs drawn since the actual surgery. And about a week after that, the dietitian wanted to meet with me, and it was actually, I was not expecting a good report, because I'm just coming out of Thanksgiving, we're leading up to Christmas, and I knew I hadn't been eating right, and I was just not expecting to get a good report from the dietitian. But when I met with her, the only thing she told me was I needed to pick up my iron a little bit, and I needed to pick up my B12 a little bit. And so, other than that, all my lab work came back great. So, I guess the way I'm eating is working, because I'm losing weight, and 2, I'm getting good lab results back, and the dietitian was pleased with them. So that was good for me, and so I'm pleased with it. So just to kind of recap in closing, 4 months, 12 days out from surgery, I've had a total weight loss of 72 pounds, and I'm still losing. Oh, I need to mention, you're gonna have stalls. I got down to 245, and I stayed at 245 for a long time. I was almost getting discouraged about it. But now I've started losing again, and I've had a couple of stalls throughout, but they were like, a couple days. But 245, I hung up there, and I hung there for, a lot longer than I'd hung at any other weight. But I'm losing weight again, and so don't get discouraged when you have stalls. You're going to have them. So anyway, my current weight is 240, still losing weight, and I try my best to get these videos up more frequently than I have in the past. And so I hope to talk to you again soon, and y'all take care, and good luck with your surgeries.